So I wanted to show you how I restore one of these BMW E30 torch lights. As you can see, this one is in a pretty poor state. The battery's gone completely dead inside there, and to go and buy one of these things is about 100 quid second hand now. So I've looked into it and found out how I can fix it. Now, the case is actually glued together. I've taken this one apart, just put it back together now just for the purpose of this video. They are actually glued together, so you've got to be careful and sort of pry along the line, careful not to snap anything, and then take it apart. And once you open it up, then you get to see what's going on inside here. Obviously this one is really corroded badly. Even the copper contacts are sort of oxidized, and even that means if the battery was good, the fact that they're oxidized would have meant that no electricity would have passed to the light bulb either. So, but in this case I know for a fact that the batteries are completely flat. So as I say, once you've taken off the top of the case, take off the little switch, push out the light assembly as well, and gradually work this thing off. The battery should come off complete like that. So what you got is two batteries joined together into one, and they are spot welded together. So for this job, what I've done is I've ordered a set of batteries. Now I couldn't find a set where it's just two of them joined together, and I had to buy a set which is triple like this, which isn't a problem, because what I'll do is you'll see later on, I'm going to take off this plastic, get rid of one of the batteries and make it into two. But first job will be clean up the case. Right, first of all I need to detach this because I want to keep it, and this because I want to keep it, and just discard the batteries. As I say, they're spot welded on and they can be a little bit difficult to take off. I'm trying to do this with a scalpel to snap off the spot weld, but it could go either way. A scalpel could snap, or I can bend this thing right up completely. In fact, what I may do is just use a slightly larger knife. Right, so what I need to do is separate this tag from the battery, and this one too, which is spot welded down the sides there. So because they're spot welded, it's not, you can't just use a soldering iron to melt it off. So I'm trying to do it with a blade. It's just a little bit difficult, but kind of got to work on it until the spot weld snaps, and with enough pressure it does go. Either that or the blade of the knife will go probably into the end of my thumb. I can hear something snapping away there. Right, that's yep, that's one. Two. There you go. They're the two pieces. So the other thing which I will need to do is clean up all this oxidization so that we have good contacts onto the batteries. To do that, just using me Dremel with a wire wheel on it. Okay, that's as good as I'm going to get it for now. There's some little bits which I'll scratch off with a tiny screwdriver, but that's more or less where I want to be with this. Now for the battery, I bought these from CPC. I paid £10 for this little chunk, which ain't the end of the world. I carefully split open the case. There you go. And now we got the 3 batteries. Now I'm going to take off this side. I haven't really thought about, there ain't no real reason for me behind it, but I'll just put a knife in between batteries and slice through whatever there's there. Which is bits of metal. There you go, now we've got the 2 batteries. Get rid of that little tag. Pair of wire cutters would have come in handy, but right, so that's what we've got so far. The first thing to solder on is, or for me in this case, will be this. This is the bottom part of where the bulb sits. Now, what I'll need to do is shorten this a bit because this is a bit too long. It. Now, when I did one of these earlier, because I've got 2 of these torches, I found it very difficult to solder onto this metal. For some reason it just wouldn't have it. So I came up with a little hack which solved my problem, which I'll show you now. Right, so basically I've just taken a bit of wire, stripped it, and I want to take a few of these strands, maybe 3 of them, and what I'm going to do is wrap them around this like that, as you can see. And the solder will stick to the copper, and then the being that it's copper, it's making contact with this steel piece here. So I'll just flood that up with solder. You want to try and keep it as low profile as possible, not to take up any extra space inside the battery compartment. I'll just put a little bit underneath as well. Cut away the excess. So there you are. That will work on the battery now. And that needs to go on there. As I say, we want it as low profile as possible. I'll just add a little bit of flux to that. Tin it with a bit of lead. And then just melt it all together. And there you go, so there's your first join. It's a little bit untidy, but untidy looking, but it's sturdy. And what I will do is go over it with my Dremel once again, this time with just a diamond bit on there, just to take the profile down. Okay, that's flattened it a little bit more. Still think it would have been better off a little bit lower, but I'll see how I get on with that in the case. Now the second part is that will have to get soldered onto there. Again, trying to keep it as low profile as possible. And next is to get this tag here bent around and soldered to the side of the body. And luckily enough, the battery, part of the metal that holds the batteries together, is attached to the casing here, so that'll be easier to solder to. Cleaned up the contacts there slightly. So in theory, there you go. Contact needs a little bit more cleaning up, but you can see it works. Here are the bits I've cleaned. Obviously a lot better than before. All I did was just use a nail brush and a bit of washing up liquid, and being careful to keep away from the all important BMW logo. So that would go in there like that. Try to get it to its right position. Right, now that I've got it all sat in and in position, I'm sort of fairly confident that I've got that profile low enough. I haven't checked it yet. Next thing will be is to fit the light. So go like that. Screw that down a little bit. Switch will go on. Right, now that we have the torch working, Just need to put a little bit of glue around the edges of the case, and I'll do this by adding a little bit of super glue to the end of a little stick, just a few dabs here and there. And I'll just put the lens back in. Clamp that together to hold it into place. Give that 5 minutes and then we should have another torch ready. And there you have it. Hopefully this will last another 30 years.